Hi, it's Michèle from Jasami Publishing here with episode 10 of the Jasami Bookworm podcast. Today I'm here at the Glasgow Gallery of Photography in the Merchant City, and to give them a plug, it's at 57 Glassford Street. And my guest is Michael, founder of the gallery. We'll be chatting about the importance of supporting creative arts, photographers, and obviously authors. So welcome, Michael.
Hello.
So first question, obviously, what was the inception of the Glasgow Gallery of Photography? What came up with the idea?
Well, it started 2015. I was a student studying at the University of the West of Scotland in photography, and I realised that there wasn't a proper outlet for photographers to show their work other than online. So everything was on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And what was happening was a lot of time people were putting their work on like Facebook, and it was their aunt and their gran that was seeing it and liking it and telling them how talented a photographer they were and stuff like that. So I thought, no, we need something better than that. If photographers want to get their work seen, they need a proper outlet where other photographers can actually go see the work and give proper feedback on the work. So I started the Glasgow Gallery of Photography as a simple website where photographers could submit their work to us, and then we would put it online and then share it with other photographers, and that's how it started. But because I was studying at the time, I couldn't do it as a full-time job, and it quickly became a thing. So it became really big really quickly. I had all these international photographers sending me their work, and I was just a student at the time, and I was like, right, this has gotten a hand. I need to stop this for a bit, finish my studies, and then go back to it. So finished my studies 2016, started working as a photographer, but the photography industry is really hard to like get into and keep working consistently. So I reached a kind of point where it was like, right, we either continue on with my career in photography, or I quit and I just go and work in a bank or something. And then I decided to go back to do graphic design. So I went back to doing graphic design, and then I just wasn't enjoying it. And it came to Easter holidays, and I thought, right, I'm going to go for a weekend break and I'll think about it. And the day before I was due to go on holiday, I got ill. Like, I woke up one morning and I was super ill, like just a weird illness out of nowhere. And I was just lying in bed feeling sorry for myself, and I thought, I'm not enjoying doing this graphic design course. I'm just not enjoying life in general just now. I need to change something. I need to do something. And then I thought, do the gallery. Like, you were doing the gallery before, it was super successful, people really liked what you were doing. Do the gallery as a physical gallery. That way you're still working in the photography industry, you'll have a job, and you're doing something that you're passionate about and you enjoy. So I basically emailed, after the Easter holidays, I emailed my lecturer and went, I'm not coming back, I'm done. And I started kind of putting out feelers, and I spoke to my friend, and he's like, well, there's a place in Sauchiehall Street that's looking, they're giving out like free or really cheap spaces to creatives who maybe have an idea for a business. Why don't you approach them? So I literally went to them and says, can I want to do an exhibition in here, can I do it? And they're like, yeah, you can have it for free for, I think it was 2 weeks. I was like, right, okay, I need photographs. So I literally went on Instagram and Twitter and says, send me your pictures. And I got 120 people sending me their images.
Wow.
So I was like, okay. So I got all the images. I had my credit card at the time, I think I bought 50 frames, got the work printed, put it in the frames and put on an exhibition of all these international photographers from America, from Canada, from Australia, from Brazil, China, Japan, all these places. And we did it for 2 weeks in this wee ramshackle run-down space in Sauchiehall Street. So I thought, right, is that a fluke? Was that just a flash in the pan, one-off thing? So I thought, like, let's try it again. So I went back to the people and says, can we get that space back? And they went, yeah, you can have it free again. So I was like, excellent. Same thing, can I send me a work? And then 150 photographers sent me their work. Again, Australia, Chile, Brazil, all these places. And we did it again, and we did another exhibition for 2 weeks, but this time it was busier. I think on the first day, 100 people came to see it.
Wow.
Which is just ridiculous. And I remember thinking, right, okay, we might have something here. And next to this old ramshackle unit, the ceiling panels and stuff were hanging off the walls, and it was just awful. There was a nicely new kind of refurbished unit that was lying empty. It was someone who was, I think they were selling punch, like rum punch, and that was their whole business, was just selling rum punch.
To visit that?
Yeah, and it didn't work out for whatever reason, so it was like lying empty. Their unit was lying empty, and it was like beautiful white walls and a new floor with flooring on it and nice beautiful LED lighting, and I'm like, can I have that? And they went, yes, give us money. And
yeah.
So I was like, right, okay. So we agreed a rent with them, and the Glasgow Gallery of Photography was literally born there and then. And that's how it came about.
That's a wonderful story, because it's how things are, it can take one small event, waking up and not feeling well. It's that one event that will lead you into something that's going to have to change your life, which is wonderful. And now you've given all of those photographers and artists a chance. So now you've got the premises here in Glassford Street. What was the journey to this?
So we were going roughly 6 months up in Sauchiehall Street when the pandemic came along. So that obviously shut everything down. And we decided that how do you run a gallery when no one's allowed to leave the house? So we thought, right, let's do it online. Let's just move everything, because we were reluctant to do this, but we noticed that a lot of everything was moving online because it had to. So we eventually gave in and was like, right, we're going to move the gallery online. It's the only way this is we can continue is online. So we started doing that, and then we thought, right, there's got to be another way, because our whole thing has been about being physical. We wanted to get offline, get people off Facebook, off Instagram. We wanted to create physical gallery spaces, but everyone's in the house and they can't leave. So how do we do this? So we approached a company who does all the billboards around the city, and we says, you're not advertising theatre shows or music gigs or any of that stuff. Can we get 60 of your billboard sites? We're going to put photography work in all of these. So we're going to essentially turn the entire city into a photography gallery.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so they went, because we're not advertising, like, we don't need a lot of money to do this. So they gave us the 60 sites. We took and we never told the photographers we were doing this. We already had their work, because it was meant to be for an exhibition that got cancelled because of the lockdown. So we went ahead, like, put the work on all these billboards, over 60 sites, and then put it out there and says, by the way, we know you can't come to the physical gallery, so we're bringing the gallery to you. And we had these 60 sites over Glasgow. The entire city became our gallery. So we did this. It made the news in the Philippines, because one of the photographers was from the Philippines. So we were in the news on the Philippines. And then what eventually happened was our landlords essentially came to us and says, look, we're done. We've been closed for nearly 2 years. we're done, we're out of business. So you can't have the gallery anymore because it's reverting back to the official different landlords or whatever it was. So we're like, right, okay. So the new landlords came to us and were like, right, you can keep your gallery, but your rent's going to need to go up. And we're like, well, okay, we understand like everything that's happened. We understand there's going to be a cost there. And they went, so your rent's gone up 740%.
Oh my God, I can't believe that. I know, yeah, that's a little bit challenging.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And we weren't a big space. I think we were less than 400 square feet. And I think our rent was going to work out about £40,000 a year. Some ridiculous. Like, yeah. And we're like, well, thank you for that kind offer, but we're going to go elsewhere. So we spent a year searching for a new gallery, and we eventually found this place. It was a former baby shop, and before that it was a hairdresser's and nail bar, and it was destroyed, and we came in and we refurbished it and fixed it all, and now we've got a beautiful gallery and bookshop.
Yes, and it is beautiful, and I know in a podcast you can't see anything. However, we will be doing some photographs and putting them up on our website so you can actually see what it does look like. So now that you're here, you've found your own home. What's any other future plans? How are you using the premises?
Well, it's also an event space, so we're doing a lot of things like live book readings and podcasts, and downstairs we've got a music gig on tonight, which is the first time we've ever done anything like that. So we've got a series of events constantly happening. That's that. But the future, like, because it took us almost a year and a bit to get the whole thing up and running, we've not really had the chance to sit down and go, right, what do we do next? We're constantly looking at making it bigger and better. So at the moment as we're running an exhibition just now, we're also running an exhibition in Rogart Street in the East End of Glasgow, a gallery. And next week we're running a second exhibition at the new Barclays campus down in the River Clyde, and then we're running a second one at Rogart Street while we're doing this month-long one here. So we've got like 4 exhibitions this month, which we've never done before. It's a lot. So we're just constantly trying to get more happening and make things bigger and longer and more cost effective for the artists and the photographers who take part. The bookshop side of it, we don't know. We're just we're going with it and seeing. We're trying to give as many opportunities to like local authors and stuff as we possibly can, with our photography books and our photography zines and like actual fiction writers. So the sky's the limit. We can do anything in here, really.
So if you keep the way you're going, you might be finding even larger premises sometime in the future.
I think what happened was we were in here a couple of weeks, and already I was like, we may have outgrown this already, like within the first couple of weeks, because the sheer amount of interest we folk were getting. We sold out before we even had the keys to this place. Before we'd even signed the lease, we'd sold out 3 exhibitions. And we hadn't even signed anything yet, and we'd sold out, so that was like, okay, that's good, but nerve-wracking as well, and a lot of work.
And I think you've already established the reputation with it on the international work that you had done, and also with doing the photographs, and having Glasgow as a gallery is an absolutely phenomenal idea, and it's too bad that had to end, but you utilizes the resources, which were great. That was a wonderful and very creative thing to do. So I know we've chatted with what you're doing. You have an artist here that we're going to chat with in this as well, Marianne Dissard. On a good day, you can see France, which we'll do in a moment. But any last words on our podcast to anyone creative, photography, or publishers, or anyone?
Firstly, thanks to Marianne for bringing her amazing exhibition here. And I need to give a shout out to my exhibitions coordinator, Elaine, who is I was going to say the brains behind the gallery, but that's me. She's the beating heart. She's the beating heart of the gallery, and I couldn't do what we do here without her. So a wee shout out to Elaine.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Now, normally I would end it at the moment, but I'm just going to put it on pause and we're going to go back and chat with Marianne. Thank you very much, Michael, for sharing your time and your gallery with us.
You're welcome. Welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Hi, it's Michèle again, and we're in the second part of our podcast. We're meeting with the lovely artist, Marianne Dissard, and we have that correct now. And it's such a phenomenal showing at the gallery here. So I will introduce you to Marianne. How did you find your way here throughout your artistic life?
Well, I've lost track, I think, because I keep wearing different hats. I started as a filmmaker, documentary filmmaker, then I became a lyricist, and then a singer when I got over stage fright, and wrote a book, and became a photographer a little bit by accident because of the pandemic. My touring was cancelled, and I bought a little camera.
That COVID has changed a lot of people's lives, and I think some of us have evolved into different lives. It's not ended it, it's just changed where we're going from. So, and now you've ended up here in Glasgow. We're delighted. So tell us a little bit about that place.
Glasgow is the first home, the first flat of mine in 10 years. I've been drifting for about 10 years since I left Arizona, where I lived for 25 years. And I bought a boat. I was living in Ramsgate on a sailboat for a few years, but I haven't actually have a place of my own until I got to Glasgow in March. So I'm actually feeling quite normal these days.
Normal is
in a good way, in a very good way.
In a good way, where you find a home, which Glasgow actually does that. As my listeners know, all my family was born here, and it does. The heartstrings, it goes with that, and the feeling and the comfortableness of people and the surroundings. And so I know you were doing some work down in Ramsgate, but tell us a little bit about this showing, please, because I know it's so evocative. In fact, where we're standing right now, how it's been created and the feelings it evokes.
When the pandemic hit, I was stuck in Tucson, Arizona. I couldn't get back to Ramsgate for about 6 months. But when I finally did, I knew exactly what I was going to do from day one. Well, day 15, actually, because back then in October 2020, there was still a 2 weeks quarantine. You couldn't leave your house if you were coming from abroad for 2 weeks. So I bid my time for 2 weeks, and then on the 15th day I was out taking photos, and I did that for every single day for about 6 months throughout the winter of 2020 when Christmas was cancelled. And when things reopened, I did a very big outdoors public installation in Ramsgate with posters and metal prints in the harbor. And that stayed up for a couple of months, and people from the town could come and see themselves. And by last summer, we could start to reflect a little bit on what was still going on, but what had just happened. And then it snowballed into me getting a gallery to represent me and to get a solo show in Paris and now in Glasgow.
It's absolutely beautiful. So where we're standing right now, I will put a photograph on our website, but if you could please describe what it is that you've created right here where we are.
I call it the horror chamber. It's a little square room, and I've dimmed the lights up above with some orange filters, so it feels quite enclosed and maybe even claustrophobic. And those on the walls and the floors, covering every inch of that room, are those posters that I salvaged from the outdoor exhibition from last summer. So there are a selection of photos from Ramsgate, people, places, strange little objects. There's even a knife amnesty box. Weird little moments from the pandemic. So there's a chair in the middle, and you're invited to step on the posters, sit on the chair, and get to remember, or get to go through every single. There's a lot of little details here.
That's what is so striking about this, is that when you do feel the space shrinking around you and then looking at life from so many different perspectives. And I will admit to our audience, I had hesitation to walk on the pictures. It was difficult. So I know the exhibition's going to be going on here at the Glasgow Gallery of Photography for several additional weeks. So anybody who's local can come and see it for themselves and see how it makes them feel. And what are the plans after this, Marianne?
I did a book of the exhibition, so that's available at the gallery or through my website. But I started, when I got to Glasgow, within a few days, I started walking across the River Clyde and feeling drawn to it. Maybe it's because in Arizona, where I lived, we don't have water in our rivers anymore. It's so completely hot and dry. So it's wonderful to see this strange body of water. So I started photographing it, and the idea is that for the coming year, I will be photographing the Clyde from the source to the sea in black and white. So it's a very different project than the pandemic project, a lot more meditative.
And I think the way you've expressed it about, the meditation and meditative part is that's where I feel a lot of us are right now. We've come out of the 2 years and we're still kind of trying to find our feet. So I know that your creative artistry will be going on for a long period of time. And I thank you very much for joining us today for this short period, and look forward to maybe another conversation in the future. At the end of our podcast, we tend to do a little shout out. So is there anybody in particular that you would like to do a quick shout out to?
Well, the people of Ramsgate who put up with this strange masked and a camera-wielding person in their life, trying to pretend I wasn't taking photos of them.
And yes, to the community. So that's a wonderful thing. Wonderful. Well, I thank you very much again, and I look forward to meeting you again in the future. Thank you, Marianne. Hi. Now this is Michèle back again, and we're doing a 3-parter in this podcast, and I'm delighted to introduce Sonia Finley, who is an intern working with us at the moment, and she can tell you about what she's done for us today. And welcome, Sonia.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So you've been of assistance to me, so I know you've joined Jasami. You're working on an editing project. You've also worked on some other one that's going to come out soon. Like to tell us about the ideas you've coming up with that.
So alongside the editing, I've also been working a little bit on the Patreon project, and for that, the idea for that is basically just to reward the people that subscribe to the Patreon. And some of the rewards that I've come up with are things like little extra materials for the novels that have already been published at Jasami. For example, with books like the Hell series, they're quite fantastical and they have a lot of otherworldly elements. So I thought it'd be a good idea to basically document some of those elements in those books, like some of the creatures that show up in the books, or some of the magic systems that they use. I thought it would be interesting to have that as a reference for people to look back on and see, like a sort of behind the scenes thing as well, just to contribute to the world building thing. Yeah.
And that's been absolutely fantastic, because this is all materials, because it is the Patreon subscriber, something that nobody else has had before, and we're going to have lots of other little specials coming up. Now, we've been at a quiet little event today, but what is it that you've done for us?
So today I have been an assistant videographer, basically. So we've been taking some videos of readings, like little poems from some of the books at Jasami here. And also as a little tour video of the space that we're in currently, which is a bookstore, and also a photography gallery. And that's quite interesting. It's been interesting to see all of that.
Thank you. So I won't put you on the spot any longer because I know I do that sometimes. So I just want to thank you very much for joining us, Sonia.
Thank you very much.
So this is actually, we finally reached the end of the podcast. I know we've done it in bits and pieces today, but we always want to make it interesting for you. Once again, we've been at the Glasgow Gallery of Photography here in Glasford Street. Don't miss it. Come out for the books. Come out for Marianne's exhibition downstairs. And, I forgot one other thing. Sonia, shout out to someone. Who would you like to do a shout out to? Yes.
I would like to shout out. Could it be anyone? Anyone? I'll shout out my sister. Hi, Mandy. That's it.
Absolutely. All right. And my shout out, I'll embarrass Michael. My shout outs to Michael for thank you for giving us the place to go and have our little readings and such today and videoing everything else. Now, I am so excited about what's coming up the month of August, which we're already in, but we'll be at the Edinburgh International Book Festival. We have authors coming. We've got 9 of our books there. So don't miss it. We're going to have special little treats. We're going to have a raffle up there as well. We're going to be giving away an illustration, some books. We'll have author readings. We're going to have all kinds of way cool stuff. So those are all of the episodes for the month of October. You'll just have to listen in, and we will have some special podcasts for you during the middle of the week. So once again, this is Michèle at Jasami Bookworm podcast. Thank you very much, and wishing you a sunny day.